Hey guys, Jacob here from Take 3 Productions. Unfortunately, this weekend we will not be having a summit due to just how stacked Oscar weekend is for us and how much work we have, especially which you will see next weekend. There's a lot going on here at Take 3 for us to just be able to, for a bunch of us to find the time to sit down and actually do a summit. So unfortunately, we will not have a summit today. However, I was able to sit down with Drew McWeeny and discuss his match, and we do want to show you guys this interview. So please enjoy the interview. Let us know below what you thought about Drew's comments, and we will see you next week for what will be a very special summit, I believe. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Whoa, Bruce!
I am sitting here with Drew McWeeny. Thank you very much for taking the time out and talking to me about your match this week. That was an absolutely incredible win over the Beast Bibiani. How are you feeling going into the match?
Well, here's the thing. There are guys that you get to know over the course of the Schmoedown who clearly have all the knowledge base they need to succeed. And Bibbs is absolutely one of those guys. John Schnepp is one of those guys. Robert Burnett is one of those guys. Guys who have just insane reservoirs of film knowledge. Like, they have forgotten stuff that most people will never learn. It all comes down to doing it in front of the camera and on demand, though. And that is a very different thing. And I'm learning that that's a very different thing. I've had moments up there. The Olivia Wilde question at the beginning of this match. Of course it's not fit. Just for a moment, Cowboys and Aliens vanished from my head when they asked me about the movie. I was like, oh, I know that's a film. Nope, it's not in there right now. And so it really is, I think, for any of us, like, the fear is just, will I have it at my fingertips that day? And so there's really no way to accurately prep. When people say that they study things like that, I don't even begin to know how, because it could be anything. Anything can come up. You can't tell me there's any easy way to study for the possibility of a question about the war wagging with Kirk Douglas and John Wayne, because, okay, that will never be asked again over the course of the Schmoedown, and I got the one. And I just, by coincidence, recently saw a poster for that movie and went, wait a minute, I know this one. So it was in there somewhere. I think for any of us, man, it comes down to that moment. And Bibiani can certainly be a very scary knowledge base to go up against.
So you did touch on it, but you did start a little slow at the start of round one. Going into that third question, you then went really, really well from then onwards. Going into that third question, what was your headspace? Like, were you worried? Were you
Oh yeah, I thought, oh no, this is one of those days. I'm just not going to be here today. And the Sleeping Beauty thing, I should have known to say that. Can you ask the question again and give yourself that little extra time? I haven't played since the finals with the Patriots. So this is my first time back in the studio, and I was rusty. And, like, even the mechanics of the game, you get rusty. That's one of the things that happened really well over the course of playing with Sam, was we played so frequently that I feel like we got better at the game side of it, not just the questions.
So when at the end of round two, at the start of round two, you spun Westerns, and you really seemed to contemplate whether or not to take it. What were you thinking about, and what on the board did you really want?
Well, I looked at the rest of the board, and I'm like, there's nothing else here that, like, stands out as you have to get this one. I know Westerns. I love Westerns. My dad is a Western fanatic. So my birthday is the same day as John Wayne's birthday. So when I say I was raised on Westerns, I'm not exaggerating. It was very important to him, and there was a course curriculum. And, like, I saw Red River in the theater. It was one of the first films I saw with him. It's a big deal in my house. So I thought about it, and I'm like, all right, if I don't do well, I'm going to get a phone call, and it's not going to be a good phone call. All right, I got to do this. So I did that one thinking the entire time of what would happen if I missed a Clint Eastwood question or a John Wayne question, and I knew I could not. So
you were still on the back foot going into round three. What was the mindset there of, all right, it's round three. Did you must have understood that this is where Bibiani's not that very strong in round three.
But
that's where he is.
I also know that those last three questions, I have seen the greatest variety in difficulty in those last three questions. I have seen 5-point questions that I think should be a 1-point question. And I have seen 2-point questions that stopped competitions cold. So, like, that is, again, it comes down to dumb luck for him. There is no question that he has vast amounts of knowledge, and Oscars and release dates and all that stuff that we were asked that last round should be within his wheelhouse. But I saw his face when they asked him about Frida, and it was the same way I felt about the Remember the Titans questions at the finals. I just don't have that movie in there. I may have seen it. I think I saw it, but I didn't have to see it for review. So it's not in there. And I just knew it wasn't. And when they asked us 2 questions in the same match from that film, dude, that's lightning striking you. You cannot guess that you're going to get a movie you don't know twice in an episode. And I'm sure for Bibiani, when they asked Frida, there was just a moment where he went, not in there. It's just not. And yeah, that's a terrible moment. It's a terrible moment for any of us.
So you do win the match. You call out the winner of JTE or John Roker. Who would you rather face? Like, which one are you? Which one are you going? Oh, I hope they win because that's who I want.
I would really like to play Roca finally. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It's never happened, and he's one of those guys who has been around since the conception of the Schmoedown, and feels like he's one of the guys you need to play at some point. But man, there is a definite desire on my part to beat JTE. I know I can do it. So it's just a matter of when. And I believe the next time we stand opposite each other, that will happen. So, yeah, I want that one. I do.
So one of our, in Take 3, one of the bigger fans of Above the Line and yourself is Abe. And he had this question he'd like to ask you. Have you noticed a trend on your matches that every time they seem to mess with your intro music, you lose? It happened against Snyder, JTE, and the Patriots. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I do not. I am by nature a very superstitious animal. So I have my superstitions that I'm not going to reveal that are part of my competition. That is one I should probably pay attention to. I did like the new arrangement, though. The one they premiered during this episode, the sort of Godfather remix. I'm good with that. I like that one.
Yeah, I did really, really enjoy that. When will we see Above the Line again?
As soon as possible. Sam and I are ready to go. I know Sam's got a big match against Rachel coming, and I'm super excited to see how that goes. I think she is a ferocious competitor. I think all of us would do well to be very afraid of Rachel Cushing this year. So, and I say that with much love for Sam. I just know that that's a real match, man. So, yeah, I want, as soon as they're ready to put us in the ring opposite somebody, I'm ready to go. And I want to start working back towards the Patriots. I really feel like we need another shot at them. And I don't want them to give the belt up until we get there. I really don't want it to be somebody else who takes the belt from them now. I am invested to the point where I want them to hold the belt long enough for us to take it.
So you don't think top 10 are going to win next week against Patriots? Do you, or would you really want?
I am rooting for the Patriots to keep the belt until I can take it from them. That is what I want. No offense to anybody else. I just have a very personal drive to take the belt from them now. Yeah.
Speaking of belts and other forms of Schmoedown, will we ever see you in Inner Geekdom?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm specifically nerdy enough for Inner Geekdom. I watched the Star Wars matches, and Sam Witwer fucking terrifies me. That guy's a nightmare. I know I've grown up with Star Wars. Star Wars is in my DNA from when I was 7 years old on. I am the kid that would read everything that came out that had Star Wars on the cover my entire life. I know I don't know what these guys know. I know that there's deep pull stuff that I just won't have. I don't know every robot's name anymore. And I'm at the age now where my kids come to me with Star Wars stuff that they know that I don't. And I've just given that to them. I'm like, all right, I get it. It's not mine anymore. And I find that kind of lovely. I think for Inner Geekdom, there is a specific sort of Rain Man focus you need that is amazing. And it is what makes hardcore geeks so fascinating, is the way they do live and breathe something. I just don't know if that's me.
So finally, in next month, Christian announced that April 15th is going to be the date that the Free for All drops. last year you were part of a very famous moment, one of the best moments of the year. Can we expect to see you return in the free for all this year, or if you're able to reveal that?
I don't know if I'm able to reveal it or not, but I can say that that moment haunts me. And I would love to sit around that same table with those same guys and see what happens again. I don't know if I'm allowed to say if I'm there or not.
Fair enough. Well, we do hope that you will be there, and we hope that we can get another moment of just absolute insanity, because that was amazing to think about.
I think what we are learning, and what I've now learned after a full year in the league, and now starting my second full season in the league, is that Christian Harloff and the people behind the Schmoedown are very good at those moments. And I think one of the things that they will continue to do moving forward is find ways to put the right groups of people together to have really unbelievable things happen. I have real faith in him, and it took a long time for Christian to convince me to do it. I resisted him the first 100 times he asked. I just would be like, I don't know. And he won me over, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm really glad he did. But it was a convincing process, so.
Well, Drew, thank you so much for your time. This was an incredible experience and an incredible honor. We wish you luck in the future. I'm not sure Chris Clark does, but we do wish you a lot of luck in the future. Definitely up against either Roka or JTE.
All I can say is if I can keep inspiring Chris Clark to post photos of himself looking terribly sad, I will consider my work to be worthwhile.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Sigh.